So Dave, welcome to Specialist Stern's Fireside Chat. Today I'm joined by Dave Smith. He's the Managing Director of Employ for Ability, a consultancy business here in Canberra that works with businesses to realize the advantage of neurodiversity in the workplace, and you also do employment coaching for neurodiverse people. So Dave, you have over 20 years experience in personnel recruitment, so I'm confident that you can help uncover the reasons why there may be some reluctances by businesses to actively employ and recruit autistic employees. So thanks for joining me. Before we delve into the question of why more businesses are not harnessing autistic talent, I'd like to go through the research that attests to the benefits of neurodiversity in the workplace. We've recently had some success with New South Wales Public Service in the uptake of our program. In fact, we've been able to place 8 candidates with New South Wales Transport, 1 in New South Wales Police, 2 with Customer Service, and 2 with the Greater Sydney Commission. The problem is we're just scratching the surface. So there's so much more opportunity for uptake and inclusion of autistic candidates within the public service. Why are there not more businesses taking advantage of this untapped asset?
And that's the critical question is that because the autism at work movement's been going for well over 5, maybe 6 years, and those organisations have demonstrated that the value of hiring autistic talent is very high, and they produce great results, which the evidence has shown. But it hasn't sort of filtered through largely into the mainstream workplace. Mainstream recruitment firms are just starting to understand the value, and government departments are just starting to do autism at work type programs. So it's still in its early days, even though it's been going for nearly 5-6 years across the US and Australia. So and it comes down to the fact, I think, that most mid-level managers will accept their executive's decision that hiring autistic talent is a really good thing to do. Managers may be a little bit apprehensive because it's new, they've got to do things differently. They're very busy. I don't think there's many mid-level managers in government or in private sector that don't work really hard and long hours, and they feel that we're going to make their life harder. The reality is that you have to do a little bit of work up front. You have to understand what is autism. You need to do some awareness training. It just comes down to making some small changes and do a little bit of investment up front. And over the long term, hiring someone with autism is a really good investment for an organisation.
I want to back up and talk about accommodations. There's that misconception that, they will require so much more support and accommodation. So when we talk about accommodation, I know from my experience of placing candidates, it is quite small. The number one request for candidates is feedback. They want to make sure that they're understanding and they have clear direction of what's expected of them. Feedback that's not unique. It's the
same as everyone wants.
Exactly.
We all want feedback.
And then maybe candidates ask for noise cancelling headphones.
Yep.
Okay. How does that's not a major accommodation. It's actually quite small, and it could mean so much to an autistic person to be able to filter out background noise.
Yep.
So when we talk about accommodations, they're really not drastic.
The reasonable adjustments that you might have to make are quite simple, that you should be providing to all your staff anyway. It might be they need flexible start times.
Yeah.
That it's a common trait amongst people with autism that they may have trouble sleeping or sleep late, and getting there for an 8 o'clock start may be, not for all of them, but maybe for some of them, a challenge. When we first placed autistic talent, they're probably going to start part-time and scaffold up to full-time. so that they get the hang of working in that work environment. If you're having a meeting, make sure that all your team have the agenda, have time to process the agenda and what's going on. So if you spring a surprise and say, right team, we're having a meeting in 5 minutes, your autistic talent might go, oh hang on, that's not enough time for me to process. What's the meeting about? And they'll get apprehensive about it because it's a surprise. One of the other sort of reasons might be that they're not sure what role they can put them into.
Mm-hmm.
So then it comes down to working with HR and the management team to go, well, again, it's coloured by their bias that they don't understand the strengths of people on the autism spectrum, that they're not all wanting to do IT.
Exactly. Right.
The range of people on the spectrum is the same as the rest of society, that they all have their areas of passion. So it's sort of showing HR teams and managers that any role could be done by someone with autism.
If you had any advice, let's say that there's a manager out there that's umming and ahhing about, oh, should I do it? What would you say to them?
So it would be, you don't have to do this by yourself. A lot of organisations and managers will go, I'm just too busy, I don't have time. Like with any other HR related thing, you get a HR specialist in to support you. So there are HR specialists who understand autism, so like Specialist Stern and people like myself, who can go into an organisation and help you through that first phase. Using a specialist that can help you is a cost-effective use of your time, rather than you having to do everything. There's specialists that can come in and help you for a few days to get you set up to start your project. Other things would be, get some autism awareness training so that you understand what it is, because then you're not sort of constrained by your experience or your unconscious bias. And there's plenty of resources online where you can watch some videos and get the perspectives of other managers.
Well, thank you, Dave, for joining us today. Again, Dave mentioned, listen to what other managers have said. So don't take it from us, but we have on our website links to IBM managers, links to managers we worked with at Westpac, and use their evidence, what they say, to help you support your decision in bringing on more autistic talent within your team. Thank you for joining us
Thanks,
today,
Michelle.
Dave.